didn't know you was out. You're messing up my sermon in this church. But they're doing their job. I know when I come in on Thursday night and we do prayer meeting, they come right on. Actually, I usually turn the fans on and the outside light, and I mess all that up 10 times before I get the right lights on. Church, they do their job. They're shining. I can see. What would you rather be? I want to be that guy right there. Or maybe this guy in the back. I was always a backseat Baptist before I became a preacher. Let me tell you a couple things, church. What can we take away from this? If it does not point people, including yourself, toward Jesus, then it is pointless. If we win the abortion argument over all evangelical Christians or pro-life, if we win the abortion argument and no one gets saved, what did we really win? I mean, I'm glad a lot of babies got saved. Don't hear me wrong. But did we get anybody to heaven? I hope you like your political affiliation as much as I like mine. But will I be known by how many people I turn to believe in what I believe, or will I be known by how many people I pointed toward the cross? Will God check my voter records, or will He look for the blood of His Son? What if I got everyone to agree with me on COVID-19? You think that's what Jesus died for? So if I have an argument with someone who wants me to put a mask on but I don't want to, did I point them toward Jesus? Or maybe I want to wear a mask and somebody does it. Did our discussion point them toward Jesus? I think if your opinion, your discussion, your argument, whatever you want to call it, doesn't point people toward Jesus, you know what you should do? Something that Dr. B says I never do when I'm at a table. Close your mouth. Honestly. Just close your mouth. If you're not pointing people toward Jesus, that's what you are. That's what you are. Y'all remember what would Jesus do? I think it's time that we really ask ourselves that. When you're about to post that picture on social media, won't you ask if Jesus would post that picture on social media? Would He post that picture of that politician? Won't you ask? Would He post that joke? Would He call His disciples over and say, let me tell you this funny joke? Would He say that? Now, He might. I believe Jesus was a funny guy. But you need to ask yourself some of the things that you might be saying or doing. Would Jesus do that? That protester that you saw on the news and what came out of your mouth when you saw them? Is that what Jesus would have said to them? What would He want you to say to that person? Remember, I didn't say, did you agree with him? Remember, you're not trying to convert the world to your opinion. You're trying to convert the world to Jesus. Would Jesus talk about sin the way you do? Would He tell funny stories stories, especially men, when he tell funny stories about, ooh, when I was younger, I did this and that. Oh, it was good times before I got saved. But would Jesus talk that way about those mistakes we used to make? Remember, it's sin that put him on that cross. Y'all ain't done me yet. I better put these down. When you say you would not shake someone's hand and eat dinner with them because of various reasons, with Jesus. Now you know the Bible says Jesus was known for who he didn't eat with, right? Or was Jesus known for who he ate with? I don't know about you, church, but I'm sure glad he spent time with sinners. That's how I got here today. If we're not shining like Jesus, I must ask you again, what is the point? What is the point? If you are struggling to shine, call the electrician. If you are continuing to have problems shining in many situations, church, it's time to call Jesus. It's time to say, Jesus, I'm getting myself out there and not enough you. Instead of letting you be the light of the world, I'm letting myself shine. And it's getting me nowhere. He's the one that can bring power in your life. He's the one that can turn your dead light bulb into a shining bright city. He's the one, church. He's the one. Now, I'll give you good advice. Your deacons will give you good advice. Your friends, Christian friends, Sunday school teachers, boy, they'll give you good advice. Let me tell you, if you're flipping that switch and that bulb ain't coming on, you make sure you go to Jesus first. And most importantly, church, if you don't have electricity at all, call Jesus. I'm going to finish this sermon with my hope. Okay? Now, this is my desire. My calling is to point people toward Jesus. And this might sound a little funny, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I barely know how to do anything else. I don't want anything in my life wasted. I want everything I do to point people toward Jesus. Here's what I want for Soundside. I want 3 types of people to drive by this church. I want the one who loves Jesus. I want them to be in a car with their friend from out of town. Their friend says, that's a nice looking place. I want them to say, yeah, that's a great church. They really believe the Bible. I tell you, they live it. They will help you, love you, and serve you. They really live that Bible. And then I want the person who is somewhere in the middle about God, backsliding or not too dedicated. I want them in the same scenario with their friend. I want them to say, you know, I used to go there. I quit going. Lost my interest in church. But you know what? They still call. They still call me. They're not pushy. They check on me. They hang out with me. They're still my friends. They still invite me to church. They don't condemn me. Don't get me wrong now. They tell me the truth that I need to be in church. But you remember when I lost my job? They were the first ones there. First with food. First with money. Helping. They're the reason I think I might go back. Then church, I want the person who's an atheist or hates God, can't stand Christians to drive by. Same scenario with their friend. Their friend asks that same question. That's a nice looking place. They say, you know how I feel about God. But you know that crazy cult following that fake God are the nicest people. They are never mean. They're not ashamed to tell me what they believe, but they sure are friendly. I've even cussed a few out. But you know what they say to me? They're praying for me, and I'm always welcome there. I have said some really mean things to them. But you remember when my house burned down? Those silly people were the first ones there. I asked them, you think this will actually make me a Christian? They said, of course we want you to be a Christian, but right now we just want to love you. Sure enough, they helped me. Got me a hotel room. When we rebuilt, they were there helping. I can't stand their religion. But you know what? They believe it and they live it. They're not fake. Church, this is what I desire. This is what being a light is all about. Being real. I don't care if 10 years from now you only know 2 Bible verses by heart. I don't. I hope you know more, but it's okay. I'm okay if you don't pray the longest prayers. I'm okay if you never lead a Sunday school class. I'm okay if you never lead a missions trip. As long as I hear those stories about how your light's shining like crazy all over this county. All over your workplace. Because that's what Jesus wants. To live it. So when people drive by this place, they can say, that's a real church. That's people who really live the Bible. Whether they love us or they hate us, that's people who follow what they believe. They don't just say they love Jesus, they love him. They don't just say they should be nice to everybody, they're nice to everybody. That's who we're supposed to be. And when the nights get dark and the world gets crazy and things like COVID happen and pandemics happen again and wars and the economy gets worse and life tears people down. And they look out their windows and they're trying to find hope. We are the city on the hill, shining bright. And to some people, yes, they will look at us and they'll say, who is that? But let's build a testimony where they look up and they go, oh, yeah, that's Soundside. And they can come and get rest and find hope. Find help. Church, will you join me in shining? Will you join me in shining? That's all people need us to do. You don't have to be a theologian. You just got to shine. Let's stand up on our feet.